happy new year. Okay, for those who are still in 2024, I'm very much concerned whether or not 2025 will be okay. I'm telling you, I'm already here and it is fantastic. For Tony, there are still swimming pools. Cathy, I saw a pigeon. Or is it a cat? I think it might be a cat. Okay, it's a pigeon. And for Letitia and Francine, there are coffee shops, they're co-working space. So no lingering and malingering. Get over to 2025. Guys, I had a fantastic 2024. And I must say that I learned somewhat. At least I add 4 more countries to my belt, which was Azerbaijan, Qatar, Indonesia, and the Philippines. And they had some countries that got more love than some. Suddenly I wasn't paying much attention to Portugal. I was more interested in India, and I had a great time. I went to India twice for 2024. The first time was planned. The second time was like a rebound because I break up with Paris, and then I was looking for somewhere else to go. And I said, oh, India is there. There's a direct flight from Newark. The rate wasn't that bad, so I end in India. But every time I go to India, or even Malaysia, now I'm thinking about it. Did I went to Malaysia twice? I think so. I went to different parts of the country. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I developed a lot of patience and tolerance, which is good. I was short on both. But traveling, you learn that. I met a lot of new people. I had the privilege of going to Mahatma Gandhi's birthplace, the home that he grew up, not he grew up in, that most of his adult life he was living, which was great. I see other parts of India. I met a lot of people. I made contact. Some of them we still, because they're friends on Facebook or Instagram. And that was great. What I learned about myself is that I am not ready to be fully committed to one place. Let me tell you this. In 2023, I had this grandiose plan that I would find somewhere which I will use as my base and then travel around. I look at 2 countries, either Albania or Georgia, because they both will offer persons with a US passport 1-year visa, and Georgia is even a little bit better because you could work, you could go to school there, you could buy a home, although it have to be like a condominium, you can't get a place with land. And also Georgia, I'm not certain about Albania because I didn't research it. Also Georgia would allow every time you leave and return, like you reactivate the 1 year. I had visited Albania first and I had visited Georgia afterwards before. And I did not have such a good experience in Albania because I choose to stay in Airbnbs for the entire trip. And I am telling you, it was hell. So with that, I had this whole thing about Albania, and since then I didn't use Airbnb, so I went to Georgia. I went there and everything was fine. You couldn't even say it wasn't a full moon, it was like honey quarter moon. And then I realized this. Since 2012, let me back up a bit. 2012, when I start having this sort of like, oh, what should I do? I know things wasn't right exactly the way I would like it to be. And I had all these changes and I go through all of these different things. One of the things that initially started my whole, you could say, discourse in me was I did not want to live exactly the way I was living. I did not realize it then, but being in Georgia, then it come to full knowledge. I did not want to be responsible for a home. You got to remember to buy this, you have to remember that. If the internet is not working, you have to call the company. And hear how this whole thing clicked in me. I was standing in the kitchen in Tbilisi, Georgia. And then I remember, oh, Paulie, you have to get eggs. And the minute this thought passed, like I get a deja vu. it's like I went right back to Atlanta, Georgia. And what I realized is that that was part of the reason why I wanted this change. Then we had all the coupling with the things that happening in politics and the killing on George Floyd and all of that. But that was the original seed. But everything else get covered, and I move with the other stuff and forget that one. So when I went to Georgia and I decided I'm going to stay there, set up apartment, sign a lease, buying pots and pans and all of these sort of stuff. But I was still traveling back and forth. And what I realized, I did not want that. I do not want a base and then travel around. No, it's a whole lot of other stuff that I looked at, which I will deal with in a later video. But I know that I have to change. And the full realization came to me too when I was out of the country. So I researched it. I contacted the landlord. They have a way in which you could break a lease. I went back to Georgia. And when I went back to Georgia, two things happened that confirmed to me that I was doing the right thing, which again I will talk about in the other video. So this is what I learned for 2024 about myself. I am not prepared or fully committed to be in one place for no extended period of time. And I do not want to be paying and maintaining a home in some one country while traveling. If I'm going to do that, it's best I didn't give up my home in Georgia. I could have then leave stuff there and then travel. So if I move away from that, I don't want to start up the whole maintenance. Anybody who live in a house know what it takes. And you got to remember this, you got to remember that. Oh, you're out of olive oil. Oh, I got to get tomatoes. I don't want to be responsible for tomatoes. I don't want to be responsible for olive oil. I don't want to remember got to do no laundry. I don't want to remember got the dishes to do. None of that. As I speak right now, this is how I feel. Next 6 months, next year, my feelings will change. But I knew that. So for 2025, my plan is to just travel. To date, I have reservations until, I think it's like August, mid-August, which I have to start going and checking back. August of places that I'm going to stay. Different countries. I'm adding new countries to my travel, and I will be visiting some countries that I visited before, but in different areas. I don't want to do Airbnb. I know it's a good thing to say, oh, you want to cook your own food. I don't want to cook my own food. I find that when I go to a hotel, I know there's a perception you won't eat better. For me, I eat better because then I don't have to remember, oh, you could only buy 2 bananas because something. You see, when you live in the US, you could have a banana or you buy a mango or anything and you have it for days and it's supposed to still be good. In those foreign countries, you have something for 2 days, it's spoiled because they don't have as much chemicals or so in the food. So food do not last that long. So if you buy one thing, you got to remember to eat up. No, I just don't want that. I don't want to remember I have to change the sheets and the sheets need washing. No, I'm going to spend 2025 staying in hotels. I have the brands that I usually use like Hyatt or IHG, Hilton or Marriott. I use IHG and Hilton and Hyatt more because you find more reasonable rate with them. It's hard to find a reasonable rate with Marriott or Hyatt or Hilton. But why I still use them? Because I have benefits by being member with them, and then I have benefits through my credit card. So when those benefits pop up, along with whatever promotion they have, and it's a good and a feasible rate, then I would use those two brands. But I have a car, the one that I stayed at when I had the mishap at the airport, and I had to go back in Malaysia, that Ibis Styles Hotel, I have that brand now. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to use Airbnb because I know they have people who are able to find good Airbnb. It so happens something is wrong with my ability to choose Airbnb. I run into problems every time, and I have no intention of paying to be aggravated. So that is my plan for 2025. And as I said, 2024 went extremely well. As I said, I met persons, I learned more about myself. And one of the things too I realize is that wherever you go, there's a common trend that is, maybe was trending for a while, but now as I'm conscious, the amount of time people spend on the phone. So you will see you walking through the airport, you have to be looking because they're in the airport and they have the phone in front of them. And when you observe it crosses all race, it crosses, it look like all economic status, it crosses age. It's interesting to see somebody in the 60s or they look like they're in the 60s spending all the time with the face in the phone. When you travel, you learn a lot of things, and then also you learn things that you should not be doing. And that is what was 2024. It had its dates. It had it like things that did not work well, as I share, whether it was forgetting my passport at the airport in India, or missing my flight because I read the time and things like that. And even like physically, because I got ill in the Philippines, which was my birthday. That did not go too well, but that illness really confirmed something for me, is that why I should stay in hotels. I got ill because of negligence. I got ill because I spent a considerable amount of time not exercising, and if I use a probiotics, it helped regulate my stomach well. I wasn't drinking it, and then within 24 hours I maybe had about 2 pounds of cake with cream and ganache, chocolate ganache, things that I don't usually eat. So I wake up with a stomach ache. But the first thing that popped in my head when I realized my stomach was hurting, one, you have to turn off the do not disturb sign on your door. And secondly, remove the extra safety lock. I didn't worry, but oh, Polly, you're going to get sick and you're alone there. No, I took the phone, what do you call it, the one that you were able to move around with. I put that in the bed with me because I knew that if I ever feel worse, I just gotta press 0 and I scream in the phone. Better is somebody who would understand me, and not the scream will be enough for them to reach to my door. They would get in and I will get help. I never felt scared or anything. I know if I was in an Airbnb and feeling how I was feeling, I would have been scared, because it would have been me alone in that place. Then I got to send a text to the owner. No. And that afterwards compounded that I would be staying in hotels for the rest of my travel. I have new places to go, and I'm planning on perhaps taking you guys more, because there's have a whole lot of stuff I do. I might record it, but then because of not having the internet not working well, and it just looked like that, it's a lot of, I don't know what you call it, gigabytes these videos have. So when it's time to upload it, it is not be easy. That's why you see a lot of people might do more live, because it is far more better. You get to talk with ease with whoever you're speaking with, the audience, and you don't have to worry at the back of your head that this going too long, this might be hard to upload, or so forth. So a lot of times is that I will record a video, but between the time trying to upload it and all of that, I just cancel it and it don't ever upload. But so I have to find, I'm working on a way in which I could not only do live, but sometimes it's better to even record it, but then able to upload it. The last thing I'm going to share with you is something, okay, let me give you a little backstory. Before I migrated to the US, September of this year, 2025, it will be 30 years. Yes, that long. I was always interested in things like investment. I don't know. Back home in Guyana, we only had banks DIH. I would see the news. I would see the newspapers that have the shares for sale. At the time, I didn't understand that they were just going through like a customary thing. Someone who do not own shares in banks DIH could not buy new shares. I didn't know that. I could remember going to the Bank of Guyana and trying to explain to this young man about buying the shares, and he was clueless, or who knows, I might not have been explaining it properly. So when I first came to the US, and then I used to spend a lot of time watching on the TV and news, I get fascinated with the ticker tape at the end, at the bottom of the screen, telling you about the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the NASDAQ stocks and all of that. So what I started doing, I had subscribed to Money Magazine, Black Enterprise. And in Black Enterprise magazine, there was this young black woman with a little round pixie face, saucer eyes, and she had a little pixie haircut like Halle Berry and Toni Braxton. Her name was Melody Hobson. She was part of this aerial investment, and they talk a lot about her because I think at that time, and I think up to now, she might be the only black co-CEO and president of an investment company. They don't have much females in those roles, and to be besides now, not only female, but as a black woman. So Melody Hobson over the years, but when I did my research, before I go further, when I did my research, I could not invest in aerial investment. They were asking for $1,000. In those days, $1,000 was like $1 million in me head. I didn't have that kind of money. But what I did a research, and I choose a fund, T. Rowe Price. Why I choose T. Rowe Price? Because of the name. I didn't know what researching funds or anything like that. The only thing I know, I had to start investing. So I started sending my little $25 to T. Rowe Price. And years later, when I was able to acquire my security license and could really do investment, that was my first investment. Wherever few dollars was in that fund, I bring it over and I start being a manager of my own money, so to speak. So over the years, I always will take note of Melody Hobson. I don't want to say recently, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, she got married to George Lucas from Star Wars. Yeah, she's married to him. I was on YouTube and they suggested a video to me. And in this video, I see is the the Economic Club of Chicago. And I saw her name in the caption. So I said, okay, it's Melody Hobson. I think I saw something, because I'm not getting information out here in China like before. Sometimes I get and sometimes I don't. But I saw she had written, I think, a financial book for kids. So I decided to look at this video of her. When I saw the video, I saw that she was being interviewed by Queen Latifah. And I said, oh, that's interesting. And then as the conversation goes, you realize that they have a close relationship, a close friendship. They will go, the families, both families will go on vacation together. Queen Latifah referring to George, which is George Lucas. And, okay, for celebrities, the only person I really and truly would like to meet, and I can't meet anymore, was Nelson Mandela. I like Oprah, I like Tyler Perry, but I could see them and they could eat the meal in peace. I wouldn't bother them if I reach face in front of them, in company with them, but I wouldn't make an effort to get in contact with them. I would have done that for Nelson Mandela. But I sat in the room and I watched Queen Latifah and I get like a slight jealousy of her. Why? Queen Latifah have access to one of the best investment minds in the world. And they are friends. And I'm thinking, I wonder what Queen Latifah stockportfolio look like. I don't want to know how much money she have. I just want to know what sector she investing in, what percentage is in ETFs and derivatives and all of these stock information. And then I said to myself, I think Melody Hobson joined Nelson Mandela, that if I see her anywhere, I would be trying to get in contact with her to find out if she could give me advice about my $5. I ain't got the 50 million, but if she could give me advice about my $5. But in this interview, and this is the part I really wanted to talk to you guys about, but I'm ramble on about other stuff. In the interview, towards the end, Queen Latifah asked her, what does she think about the incoming administration? She paused, and then she said something which I would say to close friends, and I honestly believe. The market is operating not as usual, but the market is not operating bad as most of the public will try to tell you. Even the politicians will try to tell you we're in such a bad state. She said the market did extremely well under President Obama. It did extremely well under Trump in the first term. It did extremely well under Biden. And she feels the only concern she has about the market is that the market is not behaving as usual. For all the turmoils that we experienced, even with COVID, it was down for a bit. But because of the magnitude of, you could say, destruction financially COVID did, the market should not have recuperated as it did. And the market recuperated. And this, what she was saying, she said, there's only like her concern is that it is not behaving normal, and anybody who is in the investment or really understand investment, that would be a little bit concerning to you. But the market is not struggling. And when she said that, it made me start to think about all the people who would be touting that the market is about to crash, especially on YouTube, and they get a lot of followings, and they talk so much about inflation and all of these sort of things. So what I will advise you for 2025, I know a lot of you who might be looking at it now, and who might be thinking, who might look at this video later on, and you love me, and you really wish if I had communicated to you how you could have gotten a birthday gift from me. I know it. I know this part of the things you're concerned about. Here, what I would like you to do for me as a birthday gift. Get involved in the market. If you're not, let me say this. If you are a person, you could retire, but there is a little child in your life, be it your grandchild, or child, a niece, a nephew, a godchild, the neighborhood child, that in your life that you will buy gift for when it's Christmas and things like that, that money you could start a fund with for that child. Because most children, they get too much gifts, and we don't realize we be stressing those children out. Because if a child's sitting down now with 5 or 6 pieces of gift, you asking the child to choose which one. If you observe them, they just choose one, and then the rest is left there. So as parents or grandparents or play aunts or play uncles or whatever you are, and there's a child in your life, start investing. Most people, at least when I was active and I had clients, most of my clients were not really investing for them because they were to an extent secure. Whatever money they had was for the beneficiary. So even if you're looking at, oh, Paul, I'm 61, you don't have to think like if you're investing for age 60, you'll be more aggressive, because you could be investing for a grandchild, or I said the play nephew or play niece, or whatever the case may be. As long as we live in, the market is going to go up and it's going to go down. But what I could assure you, when the market crash or it completely out, that means that the world in and we have no interest, no need to be looking for investment. So for 2025, I will advise you, all the people that you might be listening to online who say the market will crash, I don't know if the market will crash. Melody said it, she do not know. No one have the authority to know when the market crash. And if anybody tell you the market doing bad, either they just don't know, or they saying it because this is how they get more clicks. add revenue or wherever it is, they make more money off of it, but the market isn't crashing. So I will advise you, get involved. That is when I look at Queen Latifah, she might be rich, but the knowledge gave her wealth. Right? We talk about generational wealth, we talk about building legacy and all these sort of things. We could build legacy, and if we don't know how to manage the money or we don't know how to manage the business, then be no legacy. And one of the ways in which you could manage your money is being involved in the stock market. Go to Fidelity, go on Google and Google. They will give you advice in which you could go and start funds without even paying. If I don't know a fund, let me look for a fund that in it more growth or value. Growth or value, and you play with, you start there. You don't got to start with a whole lot. You could start with a little bit, and you just do that. So for 2025, I will be spending more time looking at the market. I also will be traveling, looking for new experiences. I want to learn to swim. I know about riding the bicycle, but swimming is not just for fun. I honestly believe it's a necessity. It's one of the things you should have in your back pocket if you're traveling around. So that is it for me. I hope for some of you it might be. Let me see what time it is. I can't even catch the time. Oh, Lord, what time it is. Oh, no, it's 11:17 here. For me, it's 10:17 for you guys in the US, or who knows, like in Guyana. So it is not 12 o'clock as yet. You're still lingering in 2024. Who knows, you're still storing your peas and rice if you're in Guyana, or your fried fish. Carlin maybe have her peas and rice already done, and she might be in church. But whatever you're doing, I pray that everybody have a great view about 2025. Everything got its challenges, but if you left 2024 and come into 2025, oh man, everything will be okay. So take care, everyone, and have a fantastic new year. And we will be talking later on in the year. Bye.